Hi gang, it's Todd Nauck with the ink stage of this Wonder Girl commission, and we're just going to jump right into it. As you can see, I'm using a Pentel pocket brush pen to start with the hair. I really like, as I've mentioned in previous videos, the shapes that the brush pen can give. Apologize that parts of this is kind of off the camera frame there a little bit. But as you can see, as I did with the bangs there, it can really create some really nice shapes initially to create a nice flow to the hair. And now I've moved to the Pigma Micron markers. I'm using a 0.8 here for a nice bold line as I start to work on the goggles, and I'll use the Pigma Microns probably for a majority of Wonder Girl's face, but I prefer to use the brush pen for a majority of her hair. So I like a nice bold line to really keep things popping. The different elements of Wonder Girl's costume and her look. So like with the earrings, I want to make sure they stand off against her hair and look like they're just before her ears. So I keep these things in mind. I'm always keeping things in mind as what's closest to the viewer and what's moving further back. So like the little tiny details inside of her ear, those are going to be thinner lines so that the main shape of the ear is pops in the foreground, and then the smaller details give a sense of distance. Even though it's so close together, it creates a sense of depth, and that can be really important. So continuing with the goggles here, the main contour around the goggles are going to be a little bit thicker as I move inside for the lenses, a little bit thinner. Cutting through with the cheekbones, some just thinner lines. You especially want to keep your lines on girls' faces very minimal for the most part. You don't want to add a lot of lines. A lot of lines can make them look older. So if it's an older woman, and same with the men, you want to use a lot more lines to convey those kind of wrinkles, crow's feet around the eyes, things like that. Show show their age and wisdom or what they've been through in life. But when they're younger, you want to use fewer lines, and that can be a little daunting, especially to when we're young artists. We want to use a lot of detail lines to sometimes to cover up flaws, to cover up things that we think aren't quite working. So we think we'll throw in a lot of lines, and that will distract from the areas we feel that we're weaker in. But it doesn't always work like that, especially if you're going to be drawing younger characters or female characters. You don't have the luxury of using a lot of lines to cover up, a lot of detail lines to cover up mistakes. So so it really can be a challenge, but it can be a fun challenge because once you start to master it, then you can really start to do some pieces of art that you're really happy with. But that takes time to get there, and like I said in the previous video, it takes a lot of practice. So a lot of details coming in here. There in the goggles, you can see she's coming to shape pretty quickly. Hopefully my head won't show up too much in this video, but it looks like it is. I apologize for that. But at least we haven't gotten to the eyes. That's a very important part. And so hopefully face, stay off to the side. So this is good that we're able to see the finished inks on the eyes, because as I said in the pencil version, the eyes are probably one of the most important parts of any character, whether it's a portrait or a full figure character. It's a very important part to me, because I feel that a lot of the personality and spark of the character is reflected through the eyes. So I like to put a nice thick eyelash. It really sets the eye in onto the head. Top and bottom lashes is my personal preference. Use a lot of life drawing. Really consider using life drawing, especially when you're drawing female characters. Pick an actress or a model that that you like, and look up some photo reference and use that photo reference as a guide to draw from, more so than using your favorite comic book artist. A lot of us are inspired by our favorite comic book artists, myself included. But when I really want to excel in what it is I want to draw, I find that if I'm working off of photo reference, it's going to look more like real life, and my style is going to be more dominant than trying to copy someone else's style. And so that's something to really keep in mind, especially when you're trying to master drawing your figure or your faces. Really look into your drawing from life. And sometimes what I'll do is, if I'm doing a certain comic book starring a certain character, I will I will cast an actor or actress as that character, so that I look up photo reference of that one character and keep it consistent. So I try to find different angles of the face and different emotions being expressed, and that's really great with actors, because you can often find different emotions being expressed from their body of work that can be an inspiration for how to draw that one specific character in any given emotion they might be conveying in the comic book. So I don't make it look exactly like the actor, but it's a good reference point to get the more realistic type of shape and structure to the any given character's face. Some characters that I'm more familiar with, then I don't really need the photo reference as much, but it is a great starting point. And then here I'm using the French curve on the Wonder Woman / Wonder Girl logo to keep all the lines clean and tight and uniform here. It keeps them nice and straight. Makes inking the logo a lot easier too, and helps save on time instead of trying to do it completely freehand. So as I've said before in other videos, using the drafting tools can be very important in creating your art. So in comics, we're not only illustrators, we're not only storytellers, but we're also draftsmen as well. So when we're using the drafting tools for our backgrounds, sometimes it's necessary to use them for elements of a person's costume, like Wonder Girl's the zipper handle there, the O-ring, as well as the W here. You want to make sure those lines are very uniform, and sometimes drawing it by freehand can get a little too wobbly, at least for my tastes. So this is the way I roll, and this is one of the tools I use. And I'll also use the French curve here to draw in the zipper line that runs down her neck here. So always taking advantage of my tools wherever possible to help make life easier, make the art look better, and save some time during the day. Now it's time for my favorite part of drawing any character, is finishing off the eyes. I often save it for last, kind of that's just the way I roll, delayed gratification. So sorry my face showed up in the shot there a little bit, not too much though, thankfully. So really finishing off these details is where the character for me really starts to come alive. And so sometimes I like to save that for last. I often do that at conventions when I'm doing sketches. I save that as my finishing move there is where it really all kind of comes together, just for me personally. And so yeah, I think we're just about done here. As I'm wrapping up, a few tiny little details, just a few more strands of hair, thinner lines with a 0.1 or a 0.005 micron. And now it's time to erase. I get a lot of questions about erasing. Fortunately, I'm able to kind of get my erasing done without the Pigma line art coming off and having to reapply. It takes the right kind of amount of pressure to get the pencil lines off without pulling off the Pigma micron. So, and since her top is black, I'm saving that for the color video, part 3, which is coming up really soon. Thanks for tuning in. Check out my Art of Todd Nauck Facebook page and the link below. Talk to you later.